Hello everyone! Some time ago I reviewed a preamp made by Yerasov, and this time it is about Phaser pedal by the same manufacturer. First, let's take a look at the official website. This pedal is a part of SCS series, which stands for Secret Connection System, but more on that later. There's a short description and some specs. What it doesn't say though is that PH-10 is an optical phaser, which means it's supposed to have lower noise level and distortion than transistor-based units. We'll check that later on. As you can see, the price is €140, which today translates to something like $150 US. You can buy it right here, and the good thing is they offer worldwide shipping. Other than that, if you happen to live in the UK, you can get it from the official distributor for £89. In the United States, there's a place called RedSquareAudioBoutique.com. They have the most of SCS Series 4 as low as $99. I found an Italian store, Beni Strumenti Musicali, and they have some SCS pedals for €69. I don't know if that's true, that must be some old stock or something. I really have no explanation for price difference like this. Even in Russia it is more expensive, which is about €78. And it's a common thing for Russian manufacturers to offer better prices for the national market. The Italian price looks incredibly low, I would say too good to be true. If we compare it to other phaser pedals, I would say PH-10 is rather expensive. I have a feeling that the price of €140 somewhat puts it into a wrong price group, where it is competing with devices it doesn't need to compete with. Next chapter. Before I open the box, I have to say that I got my pedal a while ago, and that one was for sale in Russia, which means when you get yours, its contents may be different. Like this user manual is in Russian, and you'll probably get an English version, as well as the product catalog. Now let's take a look at the unit. It has 3 controls and a switch that lets you choose between 4 and 8 stages. On the bottom there's a SCS connector and a screw hole for fixing it to the SCS pedal board. Let's actually take a look at one. This model can carry up to 6 pedals. There are 2 more models for 4 and 8 pedals. The trick is that you can avoid using any patch cables and save some space. All connections are made inside. I just have to remove these 3 screws to get to them. For each pedal there is a short cable, bypass button, and a screw, which perfectly fits that screw hole we've seen earlier. There's also a spare cable just in case. If I want to install a pedal on this pedal board, I just put the pedal on it and tighten the screw on the other side. I also plug the cable into the pedal. Let's install some more effects on it and check how it works. The last pedal I'm gonna put in a chain is a special foot switch. Designed specially for a SCS pedal board, it has built-in cabinet simulator with 4 different options and headphones output for the level control. Using this foot switch I can bypass the whole pedal board. It also works in a standalone mode as an AB switch. By the way, I was told that those images around foot switches were inspired by crop circles in the UK. Sweet, isn't it? As I said before, all connections are made inside of the pedal board, including power. I only need to connect a power supply to one pedal. This is a great invention. Its major limitation is of course the fact that you have to use pedals from the same manufacturer. Although I have to say that Yerasov is not the only company that supports SCS. Just Google Secret Connecting System pedals and you may be surprised. Getting back to PH-10. Here's its weight, which is an average weight for a pedal of this size. And its size, well, it's standard, no surprises here. Traditionally, I want to open the pedal and show you what's inside. As you can see, the pedal may be used for the battery. If you watched my review on Yerasov preamp, you probably remember there were some concerns about shaky potentiometers. In this case, even though they are not connected to the enclosure, they feel pretty solid, so no problem with that. This circuit is built on SMDs. Other than a couple of caps, there isn't much you can modify here, even if you want to. Look what I found. There's a trim pot. I was told it is for adjusting the feedback. We'll check that. As always, unless you really know what you're doing, don't try this at home. In case you didn't watch my other videos, I'll just repeat this section. Before we get to the tests, let's take a look at Wikipedia and figure out how a phaser does what it does. Long story short, a series of filters creates notches in the frequency response. Then an oscillator moves these notches up and down the frequency spectrum, resulting in a swirly effect. Each two filters or stages make one notch. Phasers may have 4, 6, 8 or more stages. The number of stages changes the sound, making it somewhat more saturated. Now that we know this, we can create white noise sample. Because white noise has equal intensity at all frequencies, play it through our pedal and see what happens. You can clearly see two notches, and color apparently stands for feedback. As I turn it up and down, you can see how it changes the frequency response. Now if I switch to 8 stages, we'll see 4 notches. They are not moving yet because speed and depth are set to 0. Let's play with those settings a little bit. If we take a close look at what we've just recorded, we'll find out that the oscillator is not really triangular. Well, it is on the linear scale, but not on the logarithmic. Here's the same thing for 8 stages. Here's the difference between PH-10 and classic pedals I've tested before. From what I see, I can tell PH-10 can get really close to phase 90 when feedback is set to minimum. Maybe the trim pot can help with that. Now let's check if it really has a true bypass switch. I'll measure the resistance between input and output. If it is close to 0, which it is, the pedal has a bypass switch. There's no guarantee though that there's nothing attached to it inside and it won't suck the tone. Many foot switches tend to produce an audible pop sound when pressed. Let's check how this one performs. I've connected the pedal to my pedal board and turned on the delay, so we'll definitely hear any popping sound if it occurs. Yeah, there's a click and it's pretty loud. On the other hand, so far I had an impression that unlike bigger companies, Yerasov is actually listening to customers, and I'll definitely try to bring this issue to their attention. Now let's perform my traditional noise test. As always, the phaser is connected to my preamp, all controls are set to maximum, the preamp is connected to the sound card. For some reason, there's noise without the input cable, and it completely goes away as soon as I plug the cable into the pedal. I believe most of people are gonna use it with something plugged into it, so I guess it's not that important. Let's continue with the cable. Well, I can tell it looks really good. Even with 8 stages and color set to maximum, the noise level is not higher than -33 dBs, which is the best performance I've seen from an analog phaser pedal so far. This makes PH-10 the perfect candidate to run in front of the amp. Well done, Mr. Yerasov. Let's perform a face-to-face noise test with classic pedals and check how big the difference actually is. PH-10 on channel A, phase 90 on channel B. At the quietest settings, the difference is more than 12 dBs, which is huge. And even at the loudest, it's still a little quieter than phase 90. Let's swap phase 90 to small tone. From my previous video, we know that small tone has more noise than phase 90, and when compared to PH-10 there's always 10 to 12 dBs gap. I would say the winner is obvious. Let's finally listen to the sound. I'll go through different depth and color settings real quick to show you what it's capable of. You can get a lot of density out of it. Right now it is connected after the preamp, and there's no distortion at all, it's crystal clear. It can take high input levels without affecting the tone. That's me saying hello to MXR. A little quicker. Eight stages mode. Speed set to minimum. Eight stages mode. Something with overdrive. And 8 stages. High-speed settings. Eight stages. Hard and heavy. Eight stages. Back to 4. Some guitarists prefer to run effects before preamp or distortion. Let's check PH-10 in that position. Let's check how the trim pot affects the sound. I've marked its initial position such as I can always go back to default settings. I'll begin with the trim pot turned all the way counterclockwise. Depth and color are set to maximum. Right after I pass the initial point, it starts to go crazy. So, using this trim pot, you can reduce or increase the general amount of feedback. Let's once again put PH-10 face to face with classic pedals and check if we can make it sound the same or similar. That was the small tone. Let's swap to phase 90. Okay, phase 90 is clipping, just ignore that. I'll turn down the volume on my preamp a little bit. Let's put it all together. PH-10 can work as 4- or 8-stage phaser. The only thing you cannot control is LFO shape. Everything else is easily adjustable. It's standard weight and size. It works with battery, power supply or SCS pedal board. 2 pros and cons. The most significant one is definitely incredibly low noise level. Broad range of settings will make some people very happy. On the other hand, the foot switch could use some improvement. There's plenty information online on how to eliminate the pop sound. I just wish those solutions were already implemented in the circuit in the first place. That would make it the ultimate phaser pedal. Battery cannot be accessed without a screwdriver, but that's a common thing for many pedals. I wouldn't call PH-10 a cheap pedal. It's certainly not, at least if you look at the price in the official online store. At the same time, some distributors have beautiful prices on it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this review. If you did, consider subscribing, cause there's more coming. I'll be glad to hear back from you in the comments below. That's it for now, I'll see you soon, thanks for watching.